Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, September 2nd. We will continue to see smoke impacts across the Great Basin through the weekend. Will likely be pushed further south as we move into Saturday. However, the highest impacts with the lowest visibilities will remain over western Nevada. We'll also see some gusty winds and low relative humidity over parts of southern and eastern Nevada into western Utah. We have had recent moisture in those areas, but again, we could see those gusty winds, so we could see some holdovers pop up in some of the drier spots. We'll also continue to see some showers and thunderstorms today as we move through later today, pushing over parts of Wyoming, northern and central and eastern Utah. By Friday, much of this moisture will be exiting the area, but we still could see some remaining showers or thunderstorms over far eastern sides of the geographic area, and then drier and warmer conditions by the weekend. Looking at our smoke forecast, again, you can see obviously this afternoon, surface smoke streaming across the northern half of Nevada into parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and northern Utah, and then by tomorrow likely be pushed a little bit further south. Similar conditions with the smoke aloft. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen showers and thunderstorms across the Great Basin, mainly over central and eastern areas. The most concentrated lightning was over eastern Nevada into western Utah, and also over southern Utah, with some thunderstorms also over northern parts of Utah and into Wyoming. These showers produced rainfall amounts over eastern and southern Utah, anywhere from a quarter up towards over a half inch of precipitation, with much lighter amounts over northern Utah and eastern Nevada. Currently, only light initial attack was reported across the Great Basin with a few smaller fires. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've seen precipitation mainly over the eastern half of the Great Basin, especially over the last 2 weeks across Utah, eastern Idaho, and Wyoming, with dry conditions continuing over the western half of the Great Basin. Our ERCs have been continuing to be on the rise, especially over western and northern areas. Many areas of the Sierra Front into western and northwest Nevada are seeing record ERCs once again for the time of year, and in some areas of the Sierra Front, these are the highest ERCs we've really seen this fire season. Over the rest of western and central Idaho, ERCs continue to be on the rise. Looking at some of our ERC charts in Idaho, where ERCs have been rising, they have increased to above normal. And again, looking at the Sierra Front, ERCs are again setting new records for the time of year and are at the highest we've seen this season. The satellite picture from this morning shows a trough of low pressure moving across Idaho. This will again be pushing our moisture off to the east over the next day or so, with dry conditions over western areas of the Great Basin. Looking at our weather pattern for later today, dry conditions again pushing across the western half of the area. We will see a decrease in winds along the Sierra Front and western Nevada from what we've seen the last couple of days. So that will certainly help with the fire concerns, obviously, in California, but still very dry conditions, low relative humidity during the day, and poor overnight recoveries. We'll continue to see that moisture again push over the eastern side of the Great Basin later this afternoon. So we will continue to see those showers and thunderstorms across parts of Utah into southeast Idaho and Wyoming today. Otherwise, relative humidity will remain in the single digits over much of the western two-thirds of Nevada and remain elevated over the eastern half of the area. As we move into Friday, this dry air continues to push eastward. We will continue to see generally lighter winds on Friday in most areas. But again, we will see that significant fire potential really start to dry out from west to east as we go through the next several days. Looking at the weather pattern and the relative humidity and winds for Friday, aside from a few isolated storms over the far eastern side of the geographic area, we will see that drier air spread eastward. Winds will decrease in most areas with generally light to moderate winds, and again, low relative humidity and poor overnight recoveries. As we move into Saturday, the ridge of high pressure really starts to take hold over the Great Basin and strengthen, so we will see warming temperatures over the weekend, drier conditions, and lighter winds. Looking at the relative humidity, again, you can see still single digits across much of the western half of the Great Basin, and relative humidity dropping back down into the teens over eastern areas with generally light winds. Forecast amounts of precipitation are shown here. With the showers and thunderstorms, we will see some wetting rains in mainly the higher terrain of Utah today, and also over parts of eastern Idaho and Wyoming, with drier conditions going into the weekend. As we move into Sunday, that ridge again dominating with dry conditions, low daytime relative humidity, poor overnight recoveries, and warming temperatures. But again, lighter winds underneath that ridge. We will see that significant fire potential continue to increase, especially over Nevada and into Idaho. Gusty winds up in Montana or parts of northwest Wyoming will occur this weekend, but it looks like right now those gusty winds should stay north of the Great Basin. Monday, the ridge continues to dominate with, again, warming temperatures, drier conditions, and lighter winds, and this continues into Tuesday. We will see much of the geographic area return to yellow to brown with our significant fire potential, so low to moderate fire potential returning to all areas, but especially most concerning over the western and northern half of the Great Basin, where conditions have been much drier. Going into Wednesday, we will start to see finally a return of monsoon moisture in the far south. Again, most areas will stay dry on Wednesday with the exception of far southern areas of the Great Basin, but that moisture will push further north as we go later next week. 7-day total amounts of precipitation of very little change from the 3-day, with much of that moisture occurring here just in the next 24 hours. And then again, we will start to see that return of monsoon moisture in the far south going into the middle of next week. The 8 to 14-day outlook taking us into the second week of September shows warm and dry conditions, mainly for northern areas. We could see some cooling up in the northwest, which may push into the Great Basin. This is likely a return of troughs moving into the northwest, so we could see a return of windy conditions. And it looks like right now the moisture surge will remain over the southern and eastern half of the Great Basin. We could see some of that moisture move north into Idaho, but right now it's looking like the western areas of Nevada into the Sierra front will remain on the drier side. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.